The Flash number 19, written by Brian Buccellato, art by Marcio Takara, with Francis Manapul hopping in at the epilogue. So, last issue, Barry was in Iron Heights trying to prove the Trickster was innocent of a crime, and then all of a sudden he lost his powers just as people were coming in to break out the Trickster. So this issue picks up just in a suburb where Floyd Gomez and Marissa Rennie live, and they are the people who were trapped in the Speed Force, and Floyd got powers. And Albert, the other guy who got powers, shows up and he's like, hey, where's Gomez? The Iron Heights is being attacked. We got to go try to do our hero thing. And Marissa's like, yeah, no, he's not here. Like, I don't know where he is. And they're watching it on the TV, and Albert basically says, like, well, he might already be there. We got to go and find out. And I guess he more says, I have to go find out. And Marissa's like, no, I'm coming with. It's like, we all were there. I'm coming with now. And Albert's like, boy, I sure hope the Flash is there. And then we see Barry Allen, who, because he was in the armory when he lost his powers, he's basically done a John McClane and has loaded up with all of these weapons that belong to all of his rogues. And he's like, all right, so I have to go and stop these guys from getting anybody hurt. And I have to make sure they don't get their hands on these weapons. So the guys are already coming down the elevator, they're coming down into the armory. Meanwhile, a different crew has broken into Trickster's room and has started breaking him out. And they're like, hey, cool, Trickster, you're here. Let's go. Like, Flash and or cops are going to be in here any minute. And he's like, no, I'll go. And I'm super grateful you're breaking me out, but I need my hand back. I need that, and I definitely want my toys. So at that point, we see Flash has taken all the stuff out of the armory, and he's trying to use Weather Wizard's wand to do something, anything. All he can conjure up is fog. So as everybody's walking up and down the halls, he's like, okay, now I guess I can make some use of this. So he makes a visual distraction, and then he presses a different button, which causes the Weather Wizard's huge gust of wind to blow all them out of the room and knock him out. And he's like, oh, sweet, awesome. But then he overhears on one of the radios that another team is coming down, so he's like, ah, crap. So then we see Marissa and Albert have hijacked a speedboat, and Albert's used his powers as turbocharger to modify it into this super high-powered rocket boat, and it just crashes into the rocky beach of Iron Heights. And they're like, cool, we survived. Anyway, let's go inside. So Albert says he'll go inside. Marissa's just going to chill out here. We see inside, one of them's going up and down the elevator. Barry throws a stun bomb in there that takes some of them out. And he hears them over the radio calling like, oh, what's happening? What's going on down there? We see the guy who's leading out Trickster is like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but we're losing like team members here. So clearly Flash is probably already here. We got to go now, regardless of your hand. And he's like, no. Like, we're in a prison. We can just open up the cells and throw the inmates at them. That'll slow them down. And Turbocharger, Albert, hears this, and he's like, oh, I can help. I'm going to go over to this relay box, and I'm going to disable it using my powers. And he zaps it, and then all of a sudden, all of the inmates' doors fly open. So now Barry's crawling through the air ducts, and he hears Albert yelling for help, and he's like, geez, okay. Albert manages to get away, but Barry jumps down and uses one of Captain Boomerang's electrified boomerangs to shock everybody and take them all out. And he's like, all right, Albert, where are you? I got to deal with this. So he runs into the next room. He sees Albert has already been caught by Trickster and his gang. And Trickster's like, hey, wait, I know you somewhere. You're the bartender. What in the hell are you doing here? And Albert's like, Barry, what in the hell are you doing here? You don't have powers. And he basically comes up and he's like, all right, Albert, is Gomez here? And he's like, nah, I didn't see him. I don't think so. And they basically are saying like, okay, but like, seriously, why are you here? Like, what possible reason would you have to be here? And Albert accidentally turbocharges one of the guy's guns. So now it's like a huge laser pistol. And Barry has to come clean. He's like, look, I was a cop. I was trying to clear your name, Trickster. That's like why I was here. And I just got stuck up in all this. And Albert's like, it's kind of a moot point. What with the whole breaking him out of prison thing? Like, he's definitely guilty of that. So I don't know why you were trying to prove his innocence for the other thing. And Barry's like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so at that point, the whole room starts shaking. There's like some sort of vibration thing going on, and Barry recognizes it. And he tells everybody to duck, and all of a sudden there's a huge explosion. And he runs over to Albert, asks him if he's okay. Everything starts vibrating again, and he's like, wait a minute, hold on, I have an idea. And he pulls out Captain Cold's gun, and he tells Albert to turbocharge it, make it like something souped up. And so he does. It becomes this hyper-sized ice cannon, and he uses that to blast all of the criminals in the room and just freeze them solid. And as he looks around, he sees Marissa in there as well. And it turns out Marissa is the one who originally robbed from the bank to begin with. She got Speed Force powers of like a vibration, didn't know how to handle them, accidentally killed the guard, and she was doing this of like trying to kill everyone in the prison so that her secret didn't get out and the investigation would just end with the death of Trickster. And at that point, Flash gets his powers back because whatever was going on in Dial H ended. So Albert comes up to Flash afterwards and is like, oh, hey, Flash, I don't think I'm suited to be a hero anymore. I'm done with all that. But you need to talk to my friend Barry because he was so cool under pressure. He's definitely like the hero type. And Flash is like, I'll do that. So it seemed like, and then he's just reasoning through, everybody got Speed Force powers except for Iris. That's kind of weird. So then we cut up to the Watchtower. Flash is using all their supercomputers to try to figure out what happened to his powers. Cyborg walks in, asks him what he's doing. He's like, okay, I narrowed it down. Turns out Batman already knew about the dial from Dial H, and he's been keeping tabs on it. And right as my powers dipped out, someone showed up in the Dial H area with my powers. So that's all figured out, and it won't ever happen again. This is just a one and done crossover. So then he shuts off the computer, and he talks to Cyborg, and he's like, I didn't have my powers today, and I still managed to be a hero. Maybe it's what's on the inside that counts and not the superpowers. And Cyborg's like, are you trying to like bond with me? Are you telling me like it has nothing to do with my robotic parts? Is that what you're aiming for here? And Flash is like, I guess, yeah, sure. So that's that. And then we get the epilogue where Albert is dead on the hood of a car, and a voiceover's like, the first time you kill someone, you react differently. But I'm not a good guy, and it isn't easy for me, but I can do a little wrong in order to make stuff right. And the best part is, I can always give it a second try by reversing things. And we see Albert fly up into the sky, and it's a reverse Flash that is dangling him off the building and then just dropping him over and over again. Okay, so we have a reverse Flash, which we already got the hint of, I think in issue like 17, so not that big of a deal. But he killed Albert. He's able to maybe reverse time, I guess is his power here. I don't know. There's a lot going on. It's not really worth the time to say it, though, because it is just an epilogue, but I think that the main story was good. I think it does a good job of last issue set up these new heroes, and then this issue's just like, nope, we're wiping them off the table. They are not a factor, while still leaving this little mystery about Iris as to whether or not she has any powers. So all that stuff combined, it's good setting up for the future while still telling an interesting kind of die-hard story within its own right. And I really like how all the villains interacted with Barry as well, because they're like, oh, who are you? Like, what are you doing here? I like that no one just accepted the fact that this guy just showed up and was just doing things. They were like, no, seriously, what are you doing here? So art-wise, writing-wise, I enjoyed it. I'll give the whole issue I'll give it a 7.5. It doesn't quite have that extra panache to get it to an 8, but I enjoyed it. So, yeah.